Sir, you can start now, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, good evening, everyone. It's nice to be back this Thursday evening. Uh, as you all know, we have been taking a chapter from the book The Word Within. So, today we have chosen chapter number 54. Uh, I'm sorry for the other earlier circulation. We had selected a chapter on which we already had a dialogue. This was pointed out by Shakti ji. So, on his suggestion, we changed it to chapter 54, which is my favorite as well. And the theme is digging deeply and lying fallow. uh, the dialogue Krishji had with gentlemen is a little longer, but I'll slowly read it so that we can have a feel of it and then we can have a dialogue around this one. CD had been here several times. When he first came, he had been spiritually window shopping, as he said. And after one or two talks, he saw the importance of self knowledge. We discussed how to cultivate it, how to dig into oneself for it. When he came this time, he explained that he had been trying for these several months to cultivate self-awareness, analyzing, examining, observing. He thought he had been working hard at it, but of late he had found that he could get nowhere and that he seemed rather lost or wasted. If he had been earnestly cultivating self awareness and right thinking, then now was the time to reap. But he must be utterly sure that he had been cultivating. During the spring, summer, and autumn, the soil is cultivated, rocks and weeds are removed, and seeds sown and harvested. Then during the winter, the soil is allowed to lie fallow, nourished by the heavens. During that period, the earth is renovated. It renewed itself similarly. We must, through constant awareness, cultivate and dig for self knowledge, removing the rocks and weeds, the hindrances and self created blockages. We must dig and discover new treasures. What would you think of a man who cultivates his garden, removes the rocks and weeds, but yet keeps on cultivating without allowing what he had shown to grow? If you have strenuously cultivated self awareness and tried to discover as much as possible, would you not stop and take a watchful rest? Just as you would allow the earth to lie fallow but watch over it, so would you not, after your toil, seek a creative rest? How creative the rest, the stillness will be, will depend upon how deeply you have been self aware. This rest is not a compensation, but a necessary factor in the cultivation of self knowledge. During that restful stillness, there is no slumbering, but a heightened watchfulness. There is no inquiry, digging, or cultivation, but a passive stillness. There is no effort of any kind, but choiceless awareness. There is no identification or its opposite, but a fruitful emptiness. If there has been deep cultivation of self awareness, then this period of non effort is as essential as for the soil to lie fallow. For in this period of stillness, there are discovered, perceived, those states and factors that lie beyond the intellect, which, having been experienced, reason may come to support, but they are not the product of reason or craving. What each one discovers in that stillness will depend entirely on how deeply he has cultivated self awareness. Without deep self knowledge and right thinking, he will discover what he wants to, but it will not be the real, which alone is liberating and creative. There must be periods of cultivation and periods of stillness from cultivation. Each period will act upon the other. The periods are interrelated. One cannot be without the other. What the quality of the one is, on that will depend the quality of other. The wise man does not seek stillness, not crave for it, nor speculate upon it, but in cultivating the flow of self awareness, which leads into deeper and wider pools of meditation, there comes the creative tranquility of the eternal. We can take a few moments and then express our understanding. I think I want to set the ball rolling. I think Krishnaji has given a very good example from our daily life. You know, like seed, when you put it in soil, we provide the required sunlight, water, manure, but the seed still needs the darkness of the soil for a few days or a few weeks before it comes out and germinates. Similarly, in our thought process, the state of not knowing, when not intellectually, but really when the thought sees that he doesn't know, at that moment there is complete quietness. And I'm not saying that creativity will come out of that quietness, but perhaps there is a chance that something creative could happen. I think we can take it from there. Harshad bhai, you want to say something? Please unmute yourself.
Yeah. Good evening, friends. I think here Krishnaji is using a metaphor. He worked in the farm in Ohio during these years when he was isolated from the world during World War II, and he worked in the farm in Ohio, and he's using the metaphor of planting a seed and what we do, how if we want to grow some vegetable or fruits, then first we clean up the land, remove all the stones and weeds, and then we dig. All this requires a work, physical work, and then we leave this land in the winter to absorb sunlight. And during that time, some kind of recreation of the earth happens. And then we plant the seed and water it, and then it grows. So there is a period during which there is no activity, nothing is done on the soil, only it's allowed to absorb the sunlight during winter. So same way, here Krishna ji says that just keep on thinking, analyzing, discussing. That is necessary, but there must be a time where we stop everything and without any effort, with relaxation, just watch what is happening in the mind. So this works also in the field of science also. People who are doing research, they have to do a lot of work like reading, thinking, discussing, and then they have to leave all that knowledge aside and remain silent. And then some insight comes in the research which you are doing in science. And so same thing applies in learning about our inner world. And this is, if it is done rightly, if the investigation, reading, thinking, if it's done rightly, then there will be some creative action may happen. And it seems that the person who came to Krishnaji, he had tried all this, but it did not work. So Krishnaji says that you need to take some rest also, not keep on analyzing, discussing, using too much thinking. So this is what I have to say. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Arshad Bhai.
Hmm.
Thanks a lot. Ravi from Uttarkashi. Yes, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Actually, this is effort and effortlessness is my greatest confusion going on in my head. And Ma always guide me in this thing. Whenever I cannot find anything, and I'm very much bothered with that thing. I am not able to get it. She would say, leave it for the night, and you will find it in the morning. And most of the time it happens that I leave it, and in the morning I find it that the mind answer me that I had kept it there. So immediately I go there and get it. So that way I think Krishna is talking about that all the efforts takes you to effortlessness. When you are tired, you cannot find the answer, then you take a rest and give the rest to your mind, and the answer comes up. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi. Yes, Mr. Ramarao, please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Sir, I have one small question here. Here, the mentioning of the last paragraph, it is like that. The wise man does not seek stillness, nor crave for it, nor speculate upon it. The sentence, it is a very much disturbing me. Please kindly explore something on that.
I think I would like others to say something, but I can add that when you seek stillness, when you want to be quiet, then you become, the desire process comes. But if the peace comes on its own, you are watching your thoughts and or looking into something which is bothering you, and you use your knowledge or experience to find a solution, and ultimately a stage comes where you just don't know what is the answer. Like Ravi said, he leaves it overnight. So we allow that. It's not a deliberate action or you want a stillness, but you are humble enough to accept that you don't know. In that moment, it could be a few minutes, it could be an hour, it could be, I don't know, it could may run into weeks, days, and so on. But something comes up which you had never imagined. It happens in our daily life. There are lots of issues which you are not able to sort it out, and but you are not leaving it. You are all the time with it, and then there is something which allows it to simmer. Not that you want a solution or you are looking for an answer, but something comes up. Not necessarily all the time. There are certain questions for which there are no answers. This is the way I look at it. Shakti ji, unmute yourself.
Yeah. This book is, it solves one problem of human tendency, that we ought to make concepts out of any teachings, out of any literature. So this book doesn't allow to make any concepts, or even if we have made any concepts, they are broken alongside. It happens usually with Krishnamurti's books that the more you go into them, the more you find that you cannot make a scripture out of it. So that is one thing that in First and Last Freedom also, he raises this question on seeking. What is seeking? What are you seeking? So as Ramarao said, that you see, the wise man does not seek stillness, nor crave for it, nor speculate upon it. But in cultivating the flow of self-awareness, which leads into deeper and wider pools of meditation, there comes the creative tranquility of the eternal. So usually what happens that we become dazzled by this idea of stillness of mind. And then we start searching for it, craving for something about which we feel like we are very much impressed, how nice it would be to have a silent mind, and then to speculate upon it. All these things are, intellectual sort of a study, and it has its own place. But what Krishnamurti has been, so far as I understand, is trying to say that intellectually you may make concepts, you may talk about these things, but unless there is this flow of self-awareness, as when Harshadji read that book in Canada, and then he started, this looking, watching within, watching the beginning of thought, unless there is something which is existential, no craving or no speculation. The speculations galore. We do all the time dialogues about this or that. But the real thing happens when one is by oneself, and then whether that person is interested in go deeper into it. So that is how I feel about it, because uh, there is a moment, for example, he talks about once he was going by a car and people were discussing about awareness, and then a goat was run over. And uh, you see that we, when we are thinking about these things, when we are uh, talking about these things, that may be necessary to clear up things, to see different aspects. But the real work, I think Krishnaji is inviting us uh, to see that what happens when there is unawareness, what happens when there is awareness, what are the problems that we face, whatever our own tendencies which come in between this exploration. And we might not be interested, we might not be interested at all, only in intellectual interest may be there, but one has to face the facts and go deeper. This is what I feel about it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Shaktiji. We have two more people raising hands. Lakshmi ji first, please go ahead, and then Dinesh ji. Please unmute yourself. Yes.
Namaste. Namaste to everybody.
Yeah.
See, Krishnamurti ji said that generally the mind is of the past. It is only the past knowledge and the past memories are working in the mind. Generally, the mind with the past knowledge cannot perceive what it cannot face the present, so conflict arises. But here he said the wise man is always still because he understands that what is the danger, what means always the memories and all, concepts, images, it is filled with images, concepts, and the mind is always working with all these things. So when the mind understands that it cannot know beyond its reach, for example, it cannot understand depth, it cannot understand that immutable, that is which is endless, that is unlimited. So then the mind automatically stops. When it understands its limitation, the mind stops. So the stillness comes. The stillness is not with the force. Nobody can force, then that cannot be the stillness. Again, it is the work of the old mind. The old mind means the mind with memories, with images, with concepts. And here, the mind understands, the mind functions only in the known field. It cannot function in the unknown field. So when the mind understands its limitations, it will become still. Then that whatever the new mind or whatever the intelligence that will work. And that has no brought forward. It is the totality of the work. It is the fullness. Thank you.
Thank you, Lakshmi ji. Dinesh ji, please unmute yourself.
Are you able to listen to me, sir?
Yes.
Yes.
My question to Dubey sir and Harshad sir is, in this why Krishnamurti ji is talking about cultivation. One side he says that it is instantaneous. And here we are talking of cultivation. Here we are talking something like traditional. Here we are talking like it is a process of time. Because there will be periods of stillness and there will be periods of the disturbances. So I want to explore on this.
Arshad bhai, you want to answer?
Okay. What I feel that I have not cultivated, but when I read Krishnamurti book and what I read, I felt that there is something truth in that. And so I just wanted to sit quietly and look inside me how this thoughts are arising, and there was no purpose that I wanted to be silent or anything, or I wanted to achieve anything, but just curiosity. And then I found it very wonderful to just look, not even, I did not discuss with anybody. So all that process of cultivation, like analyzing, discussing, uh, thinking, I did not do that. I have not gone through that kind of cultivating, but I have looked with curiosity, and I found it wonderful to just look. And so many things are going on every moment in our mind, and our mind is constantly changing, just like a soap bubble with a changing colors on the surface. So I found it just wonderful to look, not even to get any concepts out of it. And that kind of looking, it requires, I feel, curiosity, natural curiosity, and looking inward, and very passionate, and just to do it for its own sake, not in order to become free. So in that, I found many things happening. I became very much aware of how these thoughts are arising. And in that, there is no continuity, because at one moment, there is one thought, and then suddenly something else comes. And so it is just, even after so many years of looking, I don't know from where these thoughts are arising. Suddenly a song starts coming, a song which I have forgotten for many, many years, and it comes. So it is a mystery. And just to look at this mystery is a kind of entertainment for me. Just like people watch video of Krishnamurti or some films, and they find it very entertaining. Similarly, a video is going on within us, and when we become interested in watching this video, which is going on all the time within us, not only we learn a lot about ourselves, but it begins to affect our life, quality of life at a deeper level. It affects our body and brain also. So this is what I have found. So I
Sir,
have
my
not
basic
cultivated. I have not cultivated. I have just looked. Thank
sir,
you.
my basic question was also
Ah.
that are we accepting that this is a process of time, or we said that it is instantaneous? If we go by your wordings only or your experience only, is it a instantaneous thing, sort of thing, or it's a process of time?
Uh, I'll try to answer this.
Yeah,
Of
yeah,
course,
please, sir, please.
of
Yeah.
course, whatever I'm saying is purely intellectual discussion, because I can't say what Arshad Bhai mentioned. But I think, Dineshji, one has to start with a deep sense of inquiry, not to reach anywhere, but I just want to know. That is how the self-knowledge begins. I'm not cultivating anything, but I'll call that to be preparation time. For example, if you want to sit quietly, you can't do that in a car and in a traffic jam and all that, because there are so many horns honking around and so on. So you want to sit quietly, watch yourself, and this quietness or stillness is a byproduct of just watching yourself. It happens to all of us, including you and me. It could be a very short, fleeting moment, but it does happen where the thought process completely is silent, and I'm able to watch myself without any evaluation or any judgment on it. So I think that is how it has to begin. And I will call it a byproduct of this inquiry, not cultivation. This is what I want to say. we
Can I
hear
say
through-
something here, sir? Can I say something here?
Yes, please.
Are we aware, sir, in the whole talk, we are talking like traditional Yoga Sutra, in which there is a methodology of some actions or something, and then there is a sutra that prayatna shaitilya bhyam ananta samapatti, means when you जब आपके प्रयत्न खत्म हो जाते हैं तो उससे वो हो जाता है. और another sutra is जात्यंतर परिणाम प्रकृति आपुरा. When you go through all this, then you have to take some rest, and then as per automatically the whatever hidden comes out, and it goes off. So one side we say that it is instantaneous, and here we are accepting the process of time. This needs to be explored further. Thank you.
I would very respectfully disagree with you. It's not a question of time, but to give an example, I mean, unless Newton has the basic knowledge of mathematics and physics, he couldn't have thought of the theory of gravitation. So I'll call that, as I mentioned earlier, a period of preparation. Like, the Professor Krishna mentions about the pole vaulter. So I'm not saying I don't want to compare with Upanishad and all that, because ultimately truth has to be same for anything. And Krishnaji didn't say something which was not said earlier. But what he said was from direct perception. He experienced himself. And people who wrote Upanishad, if they came and told me, then perhaps it will appeal to me. But somebody reads from Upanishad and says, well, it's already stated here. It just ashes. It doesn't mean much to me. But Krishna was in flesh and blood, and one could hear what he's talking about without reading all that. This is the basic difference, I think. So I will not compare it with what others said, but truth has to be same. Whatever, there could be different paths, or there could be no paths at all, but truth has to be same. Whether it is Buddhism or Christ or Ramana Maharshi or Upanishad or Vedantis, whatever they say. So there are many ways of explaining it, but Krishnaji explained from his own perception and very scientifically, which was not done earlier. That was the beauty of Krishnamurti. We can come back to Dineshji. We have few more hands raised, so I'll go to Mr. Pradeep Verma and then to Ravi from Uttarkashi. Pradeep ji, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening.
My question is whether awareness is cultivable. You see, whether awareness is self-awareness or awareness is cultivable, because cultivation is a method, mechanical, in time, a skill developed through experiencing with motives and targets, and most of it known. There is no cultivation without effort and attention, watchfulness, no cultivation. So dividing into a preparatory period with time and suddenly a stillness associated with watchfulness, all through watchfulness has to be there. You see, in that silence only, because there is no process. Because as Dinesh was pointing out, a similar thing happened to me while reading this chapter. Certain understanding about timelessness imprinted on mind became a smoke screen just because two entirely different approaches could be seen. You see, time, then another, I'm quoting, we must, through constant awareness, I'm quoting from this only, we must through constant awareness cultivate and dig for self-knowledge, removing the rocks and weeds. You see, in normal cultivation, what he was doing at a particular time during World War, or whatever it is, what he was removing rocks and weeds were visible things, tangible things. It is so easy to remove weeds of that type, very visible. But for self-awareness, which is a discovery, You see, from moment to moment, removal of debris, removal of rocks, removal of weeds. If he knows what the weeds are, then he is a Jnani person already. You see, for self, he has a enlightened self already. Because while discovering himself, digging into him, he is able to see all those things which are not to be there. So in discriminatory mind, that also is working. So these things, and discussion also was earlier with Madam, that lady, and JK. We discussed how to cultivate self. Discussion is also there, and naturally with mind only, we discussed how to cultivate self-knowledge, how to dig into oneself. Then after some time, he says, when he came this time, so time, it is not that time is not a factor in this, entire thing is woven in time. But whether we are emphasizing on that, that's a different thing. Whether for my emphasis is on time, or it's a natural thing, a natural flow going on without my any emphasis on time. That is all I have to say, because discovering the self is the realm of the unknown. You see, and what metaphorically what he tried to give a message, everything was known, everything based on experience of the cultivator, visible, tangible things. So this is what I feel. Thank you very much, Dr. Dubey.
Just Dubey, not Dr. Dubey.
Okay, it's okay. Thank you.
Thank
Negation is the best.
I entirely agree with you, Verma Sahib. I only want to add that the preparation will take time. Their time is involved, but that leap happens without time. It's instantaneous.
Can I say something here, sir?
Yes, please.
Sir, what is happening with me as well as Harshad sir, as well as others, we are in tune with whatever said in this today's dialogue. But on the other at other places, he has said that it is instantaneous. So if we go deep into ourselves and we see our process, what is happening with us, it is in tune with this entire dialogue. But other places, he said it is instantaneous. So what we have to say on this?
Sir, I will say don't read in between the lines. Don't go by words, because Krishna at different times has said lots of contradictory things. For example, I'll give you two things of which I have experience. We have read many books on Krishna's teachings and so on, where he says, sir, start from the other shore, the unknown. And at one time he said there's nothing like the other shore. So I'll say that read in between, just don't go by words, because Krishna was not a man of great scholarship. So one has to
my question to Harshad sir is whether he was speaking, looking to the whosoever is sitting in front, and he was addressing to them,
yes.
or
yes,
was it a subjective sort of thing?
Yeah.
Well, the outcome may not be subjective because he talked of profound things, but he had to address the audience he is having. If a man says that how do I cultivate this, then he has to talk about it. But we know for sure in our daily life that I can't cultivate virtue, I can't cultivate goodness. This is a fact. So I don't have to read Krishnamurti to know it. It comes because of many other things, not cultivation. Can we go to Ravi now and then to Shakti ji? Please unmute yourself.
Please let Shakti ji speak first, because he raised the hand first and he
Okay.
wanted to say something.
Okay.
Please let him.
Shakti ji, please.
My voice is think, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we
Yes.
can hear you.
You see what Dinesh ji was saying, and Pradeep ji also, about this cultivation and non-cultivation. I would just like to share with you what I feel about this and some other matters. One thing is that Krishnamurti is trying to convey something which is very difficult to convey in words. So he uses different expressions. I personally didn't find any contradictions. I found two things there while reading his books, because my trajectory has been very different from Harshad ji. Harshad ji has gone into the experimentation mode. I studied him as much as I can, and I am still studying. So what I am sharing is this, that one thing, that Krishnamurti is not talking about opposites. When he is showing us the problem of attachment, he is not advocating discretely detachment. When he is talking about problems of cultivation, he is not giving a commandment of no cultivation. There is some freedom of corridors of opposite. He has used the word technique also at some places. And I have read his literature before 1933 also. I have not read the all, but I am still in the process. So this is one thing which I would like to say, that Krishnamurti is talking to a very wide audience, certain things which are very difficult to express in language. So another thing which I would like to say is, when I read Krishnamurti's book, I read as if it is the first and last book. In some of his talks, he has said it, that let us anew, explore anew, even what you have heard 10 minutes ago, forget about it. What you have got the insight, something like this, we are saved from making any concepts. So this is my feeling about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Shakti. Yes, Ravi.
Yeah, actually, I remember the example of the sculptor. When somebody asked a great sculptor, how do you create this kind of artistic work out of that rock? He said that I just remove the debris and the sculpture comes out automatically. Same thing had happened with the Newton. Newton was sitting there under the tree and something apple fell upon, and he saw it and he started thinking. And many times, millions of people have seen the apples falling from the tree on the land, but none of them could see the gravity. But he started thinking why it is falling, and by thinking itself, he come upon the understanding of that the gravity. So I think that effort, the preparation, that cultivation is not about the programming of the mind, but it's about removing the debris, removing the conditioning. That means deconditioning the mind, understanding yourself that you are conditioned, and accepting it. Then that acceptance start working upon yourself, and then you come upon an understanding that you are conditioned and you have to get out of it with understanding, and that understanding is instantaneous. That effort is unlimited. Time requires time and space, but that understanding requires no time. When you have the understanding, you are instantaneously there only. And Krishnamurti is talking about that effort and effortlessness. Without effort, you cannot decondition yourself, and without effort, you cannot understand that effort is useless. Thank you.
Thank you. I think, Ravi, there is a suggestion that people who are speaking should also come on the video. If possible, please do that. Harshad Bhai, please.
Yes. Uh, S- Krishnaji said that from childhood, his mind was kind of a vacant mind. I feel that he was looking at everything and not thinking so much, but he was learning non-verbally by seeing. And later on, I think he had that intelligence to see and understand non-verbally. That is what intelligence is. But he was also able to express through words about how the human mind works. And at, at one time, he said that the intellect cannot lead you to intelligence, but from intelligence, intellect can come. So I think in Krishnamurti's case, there was the intelligence, and intellect was coming out of that intelligence in a proper way. But no matter how much we read and think and discuss and analyze, that is intellect, and that may not lead to that non-verbal insight or intelligence. That is what I feel. So that intelligence or awareness is primary, and out of that one can speak in a proper way and can explain to others. But just the intellect is very dry. In that there is no perfume of the teachings. So that is what I feel, that we get caught into analyzing and not having a time where we can really look. And to look, one doesn't need all that, I feel. All that intellect, too much reading. Yes, little bit of reading is required, but then we have to find out for ourselves, not accepting what Krishnamurti has said as the truth, but to find out for ourselves whether he is right or not right. That is what the real thing is. Okay, I finish. Thank you.
Thank you, Harshad Bhai.
Mm.
Yes, Dinesh ji.
I would like to ask Harshad sir and Dubey sir, why he is saying here digging, digging and digging. So do he means to say that from conscious awareness one goes to the subconscious and then unconscious?
I think he's given an example of a field where you have to dig, remove the rocks and weeds, and allow the seed some time, some quietness to grow. So it's just a metaphor. Just a metaphor.
But metaphor is always given for some to indicate something.
Yes. Harshad
Harshad
Bhai
sir.
wants to say something.
Yes, sometimes Krishnaji says that thinking cannot solve our problems. Thinking is the problem. So if we remain in that plane of thinking and feeling, one cannot come out of it. So one needs to come out from this digging and all that intellect to see whatever is coming very, very clearly. It's like being in an empty room and somebody enters the room and you know that somebody has come. Same way, this awareness is like being in an empty room, and if a thought enters, you can see it exactly as it is and what it is doing. And without that, this thought can go on multiplying and create more and more problems. And that is why sometimes I say that our mind is like a spider. A spider is weaving the web, but it doesn't get caught into the web of its own web. But the mind is creating a web of thoughts and it gets caught into it. But when there is one is like a spider, not just looking at the webs, not getting caught, then it reveals so many things, not about one's own self, but about the whole humanity, how the human mind works. Because when we understand our mind very, very clearly, not understand, but see it clearly, then we can see how the whole humanity is working, the human mind is working. So I don't know whether people can come to that seeing non-verbally through digging and thinking. Maybe many people go to a guru and stay in the ashram and they study the scriptures and then they begin to look inward, and that after some years they are able to see it clearly. And once a person is able to see clearly, then that person doesn't need to read anything. No more gathering of knowledge of what other people have said, but one can see it in oneself. So that is what I feel, that gathering of knowledge, all that is necessary as long as one has not seen clearly how everything is coming within oneself, all these thoughts and feelings. Okay, I finish.
Thank you, Harshad.
Can I say something here?
Yes, please go ahead.
Harshad sir, this structure of thought is also made on the same substratum of awareness, isn't it? Whole conditioning and your structure of thought is also made up on the same substratum of consciousness or awareness.
Yeah,
So
like I say
digging, by
sometimes.
digging also, so
Yeah,
digging also some result is can be expected by digging.
I don't know that that metaphor. It doesn't apply to me, as I feel that as long as we live on the plane, two-dimensional plane of thinking and feeling, and our intellect is also in that plane of thinking and feeling. Only when by chance a person comes out from this plane of thinking and feeling, comes above the plane, and that is awareness or intelligence, then it can look at everything, what the thought is doing, what the feeling is doing. So how that coming out, that is a mystery. Whether it comes out through digging or one can come out without digging, that I don't know. Yeah.
Dineshji, I'll add to what Harshad Bhai mentioned. Any thought, as you yourself mentioned, is a product of memory or experiences, whatever in our conscious or whatever you call it, subconscious. deep conscious, whatever. But an inquiry has also to begin with the thought. How else do you start an inquiry? But it not necessarily ends with the thought. At some point, the thought has to subside. The thought has to be put in abeyance for the inquiry to go further, deeper, because we know the limitations of thought. And who else will realize it better than the thought itself that is limited? So that is the state where the realization comes that this far and no further, that another faculty, what you call uh, awareness or pure observation, whatever you will call it, that happens. We are talking about it purely intellectually, but I'll suggest let's work it out on ourselves and see where it takes us. Because as Harshadai mentioned, these are things which can't be explained by thought. One has to see that in one's daily life. So reading Krishnamurti, understanding it, and testing it out in our daily life is what is the more important. We can go to other people who want to say something. I think we have quite a few people now. Lakshmi ji first, then Ravi, Shakti ji, and then Mr. Pradeep Verma. Yes, Lakshmi ji, please unmute yourself.
Namaste, Dviji.
Namaste.
In the book Awakening of Intelligence, Krishnamurti ji saying that conscious and unconscious, I don't have the difference. Both are one. But after some time, because for the sake of the listeners, he was using the word unconscious. But previously he was saying there is no difference between conscious and unconscious. And he has no difference also. Because to empty unconscious, telling about that point, with one, by seeing, is it this unconsciousness emptying is step by step? No, it is at a time, by seeing it totally. Here, Dubeyji is saying why he used the digging. What should he use then? He doesn't use unconscious, because he was saying there is no unconscious. There is no difference between conscious and unconscious. And it is only for the sake of the people who are using unconscious. And so, to see deeply, he may be using that word digging. So whatever is there, it will be by looking, all the things will vanish, not one after another, in that way. So this way, as you said, the word is not the thing. Sometimes we have to go beyond it with our intuition, then we can understand it and we can feel it in our life also. Thank you.
Thank you, Lakshmi. Thank you. Ravi, please unmute yourself.
Thank you. I have a curious question to Harshaji. Whenever I try put an effort for awareness and alertness, I get bored. My mind get bored and it bounces back. Initially, I was very good in that thing. After 15-20 days or 1 month, I'm not able to do that because the mind is bouncing back again and again. Whatever effort I'm putting, it's bouncing back. So that is my question to Harshaji, and an answer and
Yeah.
maybe discussion to Ganesh, that
Yes.
the same thing I'm putting that example again. If I lost the key and I'm not able to find it out, there are two options. One is that I leave it and assuming that I will find it out, because earlier experience said that I will find it out by mind will find it out. And the second option is that I put all the efforts, I look where I could have kept under this, under that, under. So when I am tired of all the efforts, then my mind will go to sleep and it will be having a rest. I will be forgetting everything about the key, and suddenly the answer will come that I had kept that key outside or somewhere else, or I had given the scooter itself to somebody and I was looking for the key. So in those two cases, there is difference, the span of the time. If I do not put any kind of effort, the span will be unlimited. I could find the key, and somebody had given the scooter. He will come in the morning and would say, "I had taken the scooter." Then you will remember it. that means that automated thing come to. But when I put the effort, it reduce the time. After an hour or half an hour or one day or one night, I'll my mind will provide the answer. That means that efforts gives answer from within, and without effort I get the answer with the time, maybe it infinity, lives or years. Thank you.
Yeah.
Harshad, you want to say something?
No, I think what he is saying is true. And do whatever you feel and learning from your own, uh, not from the book. Book may say whatever Krishnamurti say, but what you are doing is very important. And whether you are, if you are making effort to be aware and then you feel tired, then you stop making effort and then something may happen, or you don't make effort and just look at whatever is coming, not starting with any question, but something is going on inside you, and when you become curious to look whatever is happening, then I think that what is I do, that I don't start with any question or anything, but something is going on. So it is like a train going on, and I get into the train. That's all, and then it moves by itself and not doing anything. So in that there is no effort. So, but anything what you do and learning from that is good, and what you are doing is fine, I think. Yeah.
Thank you, Harshad. Thank you.
Mm.
Shakti ji, then Mr. Pradeep Verma. Unmute yourself, Shakti ji.
You see, Krishnamurti talks about denial, negation also. And I am referring to this because of this question of digging. And at one place, he says that you are in a room, you have been in Switzerland, and now this is one usual room, and you suddenly remember Switzerland. Then he talks about negating that thought. So there can be some people who are in that room and who would not think about Switzerland at all. Fine. There may be some people who are thinking about somewhere else when they are in that place. And when they observe it, it might evaporate the disturbance of the past, which is blocking the present. But there still can be certain people like me who find that though they negate that past, somehow they are attached to that past also, and it comes again and again. So then one has to ask why one is attached to that past. What is the problem? What is behind this attachment? You see, so all this is digging. Everybody doesn't need that. Somebody at the first place, he listens and he's, he's with that present moment. He understands the implications. But there can be people with problem of fragmentation, because there are certain things they want, maybe different type of, opposite things. So for that, Krishnamurti is addressing to a very wide audience. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shakti ji. Yes, Pradeep ji.
Yes, sir. To an ordinary person, why these things become a matter of discussion because of using certain words like verbal, non-verbal, effort, effortless, time, timeless. We are providing these words continuously in all the narrations, on all narratives, these things are there. And then we say, because for a common person, these are sort of opposites, may not be, because philosophically, if you go and analyzing it and say that this is not, because whole is ultimately, JK was satisfied only with the whole, but still talked about negation. Now, suppose we talk about thoughts. He has not totally negated thoughts. Thoughts have relevance, importance in most of the things a man does. So, negation and the negator, meditation and meditator, and all these things, so these things have become a matter of discussion. Why? Because of the words we have used. So, and then love cannot be defined. Truth cannot be defined. Truth is dynamic, ever changing. So is man. So under these, when everything is dynamic, that's why in certain religions, especially in Buddhism, they have not neither negated this individuality, nor they have negated thoughts. In certain things, the very fact, the moment you negate something, it becomes very powerful. This is what I experienced. The very word that you don't do this, and the same thought comes again and again. So these things have complicated the matter. The message could not be conveyed. Although Shakti Ji was talking about that there are no opposites and this and that, but practically speaking, in my life, in life around me, everything is because of, it's a matter of discussion even after 40, 50, 60 years. The same words. And we try to say the same thing what JK said, that there are no opposites. Good is not the opposite of bad. But for the common person, simply because he is saying, and when he says that word is not the thing, when he says don't follow me, but still we try to ultimately go closer to what he said. Somehow, you see, if you love a person, you try to justify everything. You don't see anything. So this is what I feel, that's why we are discussing almost eternally these things, and still the message is there where it was. And so this is what I feel. Thank you.
Thank you, Pradeep ji. Yes, Dinesh ji.
Here, sir, he has ended up with a very interesting word, eternal, this tranquility of the eternal, creative tranquility of the eternal. So what he's trying to indicate?
So what do you feel is the tranquility, sir?
So he was all the time in this talking about digging. Madam said that it is the same, conscious, unconscious, and subconscious is same. But suppose my conscious mind is not having access to the deeper layers, then I have to dig, isn't it?
Yes. How do you say that your conscious is not at that level? You have decided that the conscious, if it reaches this level, then you have already reached. Is that what you want to say?
See, I cannot understand what he meant by this creative tranquility of the eternal. But I can see the disturbances in me. As long as the disturbances present in me, I can address to those only. So I can dig into it, and only I can see what is happening in me.
I agree with you, Dinesh ji. I think I want to make two things very clear. Verma Sahib also mentioned this. Krishna ji has never denied thought. In fact, he has attached great importance to thought in our daily life. You know, in all our scientific discoveries, our quality of life would not have been what it is without thought.
Yes.
But he also said that, do you realize the limitation of thought, like the limitation of knowledge? He's pointing a finger towards that. And as Dinesh ji is talking about, sir, we have to start from where I am. I can't take the idea of virtuous life when I know that I get angry, I'm ambitious, and I'm jealous, all those things. So I have to start from where I am. Let's not say that I do this and I reach somewhere. I'll start that, well, I get angry. That is a fact for me. I accept it. I don't condemn it or say that I must get out of it. But I start looking deeply what causes this anger. Then there is a hope that it may reach somewhere.
Looking
That is
deeply
the
means
way I-
digging.
whatever you can call it, I'm just looking, I'm just examining myself. This is a disorder in my consciousness because I have an image. Somebody says something which is not as per my liking, I get hurt. And if I can express my anger, I do that. If it is the PN or the driver, I get angry, I say harsh words, I say something which is not true just to hurt him. I do all that. But can I realize this without condemning it, that I shouldn't get angry? Because the religion says it should be virtuous, you should speak the truth, all that. So that is the conditioning I'm carrying all the time, and I'm judging my actions based on my conditioning. So I have to get out of that. Can I realize that violence is what I am? I am violent. So I will suggest that we have to start from where we are because there is no other place to start from. If we start from an utopian world, then I'm going to have lots of frustrations and all that. But I'm going to start from where I am and look into it really deeply and find out the causation, what happens, why does it happen, and so on. I mean, that's one way of looking at it. I'm not a pandit in Krishnamurti's teachings. Pradeep ji wants, there is another Pradeep ji, Mr. Pradeep Prakash. Yes, sir, say something. We are all students, and Krishji used to say that people who were with him for 40 years, at the deathbed, he said they don't have the foggiest idea what I've been talking about.
So you don't need to believe him. If you know it, you have it, you have it.
Yes, absolutely. We can have the knowledge about Krishnamurti's teachings or Buddhist teachings.
So he can be wrong also, sir.
Yes, absolutely. I agree entirely.
Okay, sir, I think I heard a very inspiring sentence that.
Please unmute yourself, unmute.
Yeah. I heard a very inspiring, I have raised this hand to just share something which struck me. Dinesh used the word that what is the meaning of tranquility of the eternal or something like that. So I think this has been the most inspiring sentence which has struck me. You see, why it is so inspiring and why it is so beautiful for me, I'll share that. Eternal is changeless. Nothing ever happens to it. That is the experiential reality of eternity. If nothing moves, nothing changes, that's eternal, remains the same forever and ever. And that essential quality of that is tranquility because there's nothing happening. When there is nothing happening, it has to be tranquil. And that's the quality of that eternal. So this has been the most inspiring sentence, and I just wanted to share about my, understanding of this, and this will remain with me, resonate with me for quite some time now. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Prakash, Mr. Prakash Maheshwari. Prakash ji bole. Unmute yourself.
Hello.
Ji, bole.
Can you hear?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
I want to read something about eternity, what he means by eternity. Time which continuity can never find that which is eternal. Eternity is not continuity. That which endures is not eternal. Eternity is in the moment. Eternity is in the moment. Eternity is in the now. So he is not talking about eternity means something else. He is referring the eternity to the present. So we have to keep this in the mind. And other thing I want to say that about stillness. We have talked so much about cultivation, but we have not give our full attention to stillness. He says that there must be period of cultivation and period of stillness from cultivation. Stillness from cultivation. So what is cultivation? I think that cultivation means we are reading the JK's book, discussing his teachings, attending several meetings, and thinking about that. So I think that stillness from cultivation is we may give some rest from that. Cultivation means this all activities. When we free from all these activity, there is already stillness. We are all occupying ourselves from these activities. So stillness is always there. But we are occupied our mind with so much activities, and so there is not stillness. When we free ourselves from all these activities, there is stillness. I think that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Prakash. I think Dinesh ji wants to say something. Please unmute yourself.
Sir, it is very interesting that in the reading or in discussion also, we are not attentive of the total thing. What he is saying, creative tranquility. He has used word creative tranquility of eternal. So creativity is also there, not only tranquility or not eternal. So he is speaking of creativity also. So that should also be kept in mind. You should be aware of that word also. Isn't it?
Can we get away from the words a little bit and try to understand what he's talking about? I think Lakshmi ji wants to say something. Please unmute yourself.
Okay. It's creative because this tranquility, this stillness is not a dull type or whatever without anything. So it is always active, creative only. That stillness never be dull or monotonous. There will be energy, total energy and total attention. So that is creative always. Because that intelligence is there and it is always creative. And that is why we are able to see. We have to use the word see. It is not the see as Prakash, I don't know that one person spoke now that eternal is it is experiential. It cannot be described. So that in that creative tranquility only, that can be experienced, where the experiencer is not there. And such a thing, that is why the word is there, because in intelligence, there is always creativity, because that it is not as with mind. Mind and thought, that is based on memory and the past. But there is no past memory in intelligence. It is now, every minute, then and then. So there is no continuity in it, and it is in the present now only itself. That is why Krishnamurti says, if anybody says, I know, don't believe, because that already had gone into past. So what we have to understand is That is always creative only. The tranquility is creative only. We need not say, because total energy is there, total attention is there. So always it is creative. And in that, and whatever we are saying that unlimited or that which we cannot describe, it is not a dull thing, no. That is why this can be experienced without experiencer. Thank you.
Thank you, Lakshmi.
Sir,
I think I want
yeah.
to add to what Prakash ji mentioned, that digging is the use of our experience or memory, which is, analysis, all that kind of thing. And stillness is perhaps, I'm just guessing, I could be wrong, that stillness is when the thought ceases, when there is no thought at all. That state, as Lakshmi ji mentioned, there is no, experiencer.
Sir, I want to add only one thing to this.
Yes, please.
Basically, there is a curiosity in oneself or some kind of suffering that can lead to greater exploration. And therefore, he is suggesting to go into deep. He is suggesting to dig deep, that is, to go into oneself deeply as much as possible. And when sees that it is the limit of his thought or his efforts, then he can stop. And when he stops, something different activity can happen. What he is suggesting about that, I want to add only one this thing to your comment. Sir, we have got only 2-3 minutes left. So
Can we take short comments? I think Pradeep ji first and then Dinesh ji.
yes,
We'll
sir,
end
1
up
minute.
with Dinesh ji. Yeah,
1 minute is, sir.
1 minute each. Please unmute, both of you. Please unmute yourself. And let's
Sir,
try and finish it by
What I
7
have to say is just as the meditation is without the meditator, as long meditator is there, meditation is not there. Likewise, creativity, if the creator is there, creativity, what he has experienced is not there. Creator is there, creativity, and that makes it tranquil, probably tranquil, because tranquility is also felt to certain extent, and feeling means by self only. This is what I am not excluding anything. so this is what I feel. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dinesh.
Thank you. Dinesh ji, you have the last word.
I also think what Madam says, that eternal is tranquil also and creative also. But our limitation of mind is we cannot understand that state, which is creative also and tranquil also at the same time. This is limitation of our mind.
I think we can be with this question and
Yes.
let's think about it overnight
Thank
and
you.
come up. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks all. May
Thank
I end
you.
the meeting, sir?
Do that.
I will end the meeting. Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.